When I first started, I used to drive around because we had wood rackets, and I would go to the parks on the first warm day in spring, and anybody that had a wood racket, I would approach them with my card that says Beginner's World Tennis, and they said, well, how did you know that I needed lessons? I go, it's a guess, but when they brought out the wood press, I knew that this was my target market. It was the summer of 1984, July of 1984. I taught probably 50 or 60 adult beginners.
Mark's involvement in St. Louis with the Grassroots program is second to none. He goes into all the park and rec programs. He's at a number of different local schools, grade schools, community centers. Where there isn't tennis, Mark is there.
I go into areas that people don't normally go into, and I always ask, when I do my little presentation, how many kids play tennis, and like one kid will raise their hand.
What Mark does that's special is, first of all, he's engaging families. So the kids they'll enter his program and then they'll work in his program. The parents see that work ethic coming through.
It's rewarding, it's how I measure my success, how my kids do, So it's neat to see these kids years later and they're super successful.
Mark is one of the best people in St. Louis, and I've been here my whole life. But I would never want to lose contact with him, even as the kids get bigger. Like I said, he calls me, he comes up with ideas.
For many, many people, Mark has been their initial exposure to tennis, their continuing exposure to tennis. They have grandchildren that are playing. The weddings have come out of Mark's programs. He's got some dozen weddings from people that have met each other at their little tennis facility. And so Mark's involvement is more than just tennis, but it's sort of a lifelong endeavor on his part to make it part of a lifestyle.
I utilize my tennis to find people jobs, to get people into schools, a lot of graduate schools and scholarship programs.
Mark has been a great role model for my daughters, both of them, and has been someone that they could depend on for a very long time. Mark is a guy who never stops. He's always thinking of new ways to engage kids. He's always thinking of new ways to get out into the community. He's always thinking of new ways to connect people.
Mark Platt is a gentle soul, very unassuming. And he's welcoming. He's got a warmth about him. So I think he brings kids in.
I never knew that tennis was I always loved tennis, played tennis. It just worked out for me that I was able to make a career of it. I found my niche, which was the beginners. I see the positive it creates, the relationships it creates, the jobs, the way the kids move on and become successful. It's motivating, it's fun every time.